On November 5, in Xi'an, Hebei, a popular bridge's suspension cable snapped and the bridge deck caught fire. The bridge had been open for only a month, leading netizens to question its quality with remarks such as, "This quality is too poor." Videos circulated online showing a large bridge in Xi'an, Hebei, where a suspension cable snapped, sparking a fire as it fell onto the bridge deck, igniting the surface. People appeared to be using fire extinguishers to put out the fire. Public information shows that the last group of inclined cables of the Hutuo River Grand Bridge was installed on September 7 this year, and the bridge only opened on September 28, known as the popular bridges by locals due to its flickering lights in various colors at night. It is a key control project of the Fuxing Street Municipal Renovation Project. The bridge is approximately 2208 meters long, with a total height of the main tower of 146.5 meters, designed with a dual-direction 10-lane standard and a design speed of 100 km per hour. The bridge represented a significant investment, amounting to $1.6 billion. The bridge was designed with 31 pairs of cables in a unique twisted planar layout inspired by traditional Chinese landscape paintings. The cables varied in length from 103 meters to 156 meters and weighed between 7 to 10 tons each. The grand scale and aesthetic design of the bridge made it an instant landmark in the region. When the incidents happened, local officials were quick to blame the collapse on an electrical short circuit in the decorative lighting system installed on the bridge cables and towers. They stated that the cable itself did not fail structurally, but the lighting fire and subsequent heat damage is what caused the cable to break free of its anchorages and fall. Yet, for many observers, this explanation seemed too convenient. The rapid destruction of such a major structural component raised alarming concerns about the materials used and the bridge's structural integrity as a whole. The Hutuo River Grand Bridge collapse focused national attention on the systemic issues of rushed construction projects, lack of oversight, and questionable quality standards that still plague much of China's infrastructure boom. Everywhere there is tofu in China? This house is just a few years old. How come even the land around it cracked? The ground of this high school in Sichuan collapsed, and 3 students fell into the septic tank. It seems like the level of tofu in China is so high that even the path that the Chinese walk upon is made from tofu as well. And I wish I was joking, just look at these photos. In Hunan, the ground collapsed in a village. Officials claim that the specific cause was unknown for obvious reasons. On November 19, the ground inside a department store in Jiyuan City, Henan, suddenly collapsed, and a large hole over 1 meter deep appeared. A sidewalk suddenly collapsed in Guangyan, and an old man onlookers accidentally fell into the pit. Tofu drag happens in every infrastructure in China. The world can never stop getting shocked by how bad China's roads are. China's human toll from China's shoddily built infrastructure continues to climb with no end in sight. Just in the past 3 years, poorly constructed roads, bridges, and buildings have led to hundreds of deaths across China. A 7-story residential building collapsed in Jiangxi. According to residents, the building was already in a bad shape before it collapsed during reinforcements. On September 30th, a mini supermarket in Beihai, Guangxi, suddenly and without warning collapsed. 4 individuals were injured, with 2 sustaining serious injuries, while the cause remains under investigation. Skeptical online commentators questioned how a modern building could collapse so abruptly, suggesting underlying flaws in construction were likely involved. Similarly, on September 18th, a section of road in Shenzhen unexpectedly caved in, swallowing a car in the process. The collapse stretched 15 meters long, 7 meters wide, and 4 meters deep, substantial dimensions that indicate major deficiencies in road construction quality. Also in Shenzhen, in September, another section collapsed into a hole. Other recent collapses involved bridges crumbling under heavy rainfall, though well-built bridges elsewhere routinely withstand such conditions without failing catastrophically. For example, on July 6, 2023, an expressway bridge in Sichuan fractured amid heavy rain, sending two vehicles plunging into the resulting gap where they caught fire upon impact. Chinese officials reflexively claimed an alleged landslide caused by rain. Of course, their claims are ridiculous. What kind of rain can collapse a bridge? Okay, perhaps I was wrong. Likewise, on August 3, 2023, an elevated highway bridge in Heilongjiang province collapsed. However, competent infrastructure engineering dictates that bridges should not fail so easily. Even more tragically, badly built residential and commercial buildings put their occupants at risk, leading to loss of life when they collapse. On April 29th, an illegally expanded residential building in Changsha, Hunan province collapsed abruptly, killing 54 innocent residents. Investigations revealed the additional floors exceeded the original building's structural capacity, having been added without permits or regard for safety. Though residents had urgently complained of increasing deformation on the new floors, their legitimate concerns were ignored and left unaddressed. Shockingly, safety inspections were deliberately falsified through bribery, enabling the structure's dangerous expansion. The assessment company issued fake passing reports for 31 units in the building, despite minimal inspection. This flagrant negligence underscores the endemic corruption in China's construction industry. Predictably, a similar scenario played out when a warehouse collapsed in Harbin, causing 9 trapped workers. The clearly unsafe warehouse had been illegally expanded upwards twice without proper reinforcement. A previous tenant glass company had noticed obvious and growing signs of structural instability. Alarmed, they urgently moved out, fully aware of the impending danger of collapse. Yet despite these red flags, the hazardous building was still rented out again, indicating high-level corruption in permitting such a visibly high-risk facility to operate. The human toll continues to grow from such corrupt negligence. Highway bridges dangerously undermined. By official counts, China has over 1 million highway bridges, a quantity unparalleled in the world. The non-stop construction boom has spanned everything from simple concrete crossings to architecturally stunning suspended thoroughfares. Yet quantity does not equal quality. According to state media sources, nearly 100,000 of China's bridges are now classified as dangerous due to defects and deterioration. This alarming figure indicates nearly 10% of bridges are at risk of collapse or failure under strain. In recent years, a spate of catastrophic bridge failures has put the dangers in sharp focus. Fatal collapses have been blamed on flooding, overloading, faulty designs, poor construction methods, and lack of maintenance. In many cases, warning signs were ignored until disaster struck. For example, on May 13th, a road near a metro station in Xi'an abruptly caved in, forming a sinkhole roughly 8 meters in diameter and 5 meters deep. A woman riding her electric scooter fell into the pit and was immediately buried by the soil, losing her life. The public questioned how such a substantial sinkhole could open up without warning on a supposedly stable city road. Similarly, video from Henan province shows a van plunging into a massive sinkhole that opened up along the roadway. The sheer size of the hole, estimated at 80 square meters, indicates major structural deficiencies beneath the road surface rather than a small pipe leak. Despite the obvious risks, authorities failed to identify and repair the problem before a vehicle crashed through. Another case involving a bridge in Jiangsu province simply collapsed outright, crushing many cars. These people died because of bad quality infrastructure. I truly hope justice will come. Accusations of systemic corruption. Accusations of systemic corruption. By conservative estimates, over 10% of infrastructure funds line the pockets of officials, not projects. A culture of kickbacks and cronyism provides fertile ground for quality lapses. Professor Hu Jianbo, an anti-corruption expert at Ping University, analyzed detailed graph cases, finding infrastructure corruption exceeds 10% across the board. Officials exploit their authority over projects large and small, approving shoddy plans, skimming from budgets, and taking payouts from contractors is commonplace. The larger the project, the bigger temptation for officials to carve out an extra slice. For contractors seeking advantage, bribery often smooths the way. The typical process for infrastructure projects begins with local officials awarding contracts through backroom deals with developer friends and family. The developer then uses the cheapest materials and skimps on structural supports to maximize profit. Officials pretend not to notice the corner cutting as long as they get their kickback money. Safety inspectors simply rubber stamp the work, knowing their salaries depend on ignoring flaws. With big money and lack supervision, engineering projects offer low-risk and high-reward corruption. Post-collapse investigations reveal just how far graft distorts infrastructure building. For example, observers analyzing wreckage from the deadly Xi'an bridge collapse in July 2023 pointed out visibly inadequate reinforcement and support structures compared to modern engineering standards. This likely caused the bridge to fail under stress. Furthermore, many noted the collapsed bridges had previously received quality awards, suggesting cosmetic inspections rather than meaningful safety reviews. Corruption impacts all stages of construction, from bids and planning to materials and maintenance. Shirking standards may reap short-term profits but gives way to cracked foundations and weakened steel. In the case of building collapses like the hotel failure in Suzhou, developers illegally added extra floors beyond engineering limits to sell more units while officials looked the other way for bribes. The disease of corruption infects every level of construction projects, disregarding human safety to enrich officials and developers. Until governance reforms address this rot at the core, Chinese buildings will continue collapsing atop their occupants. Lack oversight causing infrastructure to collapse. When building collapses and dams burst in China, causing deaths and destruction, official reactions follow a familiar pattern: blame nature, minimize human errors, and deflect accountability. The reflexive impulse to cover up uncomfortable truths hinders China from addressing systemic infrastructure safety issues. Recent damming incidents reveal a culture of avoiding responsibility. In the early morning of July 6, at the 230 kilometers plus 700 mark of the Dawan section of the Yinguang Expressway in Sichuan direction from Wanzhou to Dazhou, the expressway bridge collapsed, causing two-way traffic to be interrupted. Vehicles in the direction from Wanzhou to Dazhou will detour from the Panqi toll station. The directions from Bahong to Wanzhou, Wenyuan to Wanzhou, and Dazhou to Wanzhou are not accessible. Meager accountability for infrastructure failures encourages dangerous complacency. Contractors get away with deadly construction risks, officials evade prosecution for lax oversight, and engineers repeat past mistakes. The systemic corruption and lack of accountability in China's infrastructure construction has led to an endemic crisis, with thousands of dangerous bridges, buildings, dams, and roads across the country. To truly address this problem, the culture of graft and cover-ups must end. Officials at every level must be held responsible for proper oversight. Engineering standards cannot be compromised for profit. Contractors and developers who cut corners must face prosecution. Regular citizens should have channels to report flawed construction without fear of retaliation. Only through transparency, accountability, and adherence to safety can China begin restoring trust in its infrastructure. The government must choose either reform or continue risking the lives of its people. The path forward is clear if officials summon the integrity to take it.